Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy. Been with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said, on every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
Yes, we are so excited to have Lisa Loeb with us today. She is a 2018 Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter, touring musician, and philanthropist who started her career with the platinum-selling number one hit song, Stay, I Missed You, from the film Reality Bites. And she's here to tell us about what she's been up to now and her new project, Together Apart.
And we're excited to have her on. So welcome
Yes,
to the show.
welcome.
Hi, it's so great to see y'all. I'm so happy to be here.
We're happy to have you.
Yes,
Now, as you know, it's been a tough time for entertainment this last 18 months, or however long it's
right.
been now. So I always like to start there. How has COVID affected you, and what have you done to kind of maneuver through this crazy new maze we have?
Well, I have to say that for me, I put a record out right before right before COVID. I put an album
Oh,
out and I
wow.
did an in-store performance at a record store, Amoeba Records in Los Angeles, and I had planned on doing a lot of touring around the world. I did get to go to Japan because we put our records out in Japan first, usually. Um,
Yes.
but all of a sudden the world closed down and it became a very complicated thing. And I have to say that although it's been an unbelievable balancing act and I still haven't found my place right in the middle, um, trying to figure out house cleaning, child care, kids in Zoom school. Um, I often find myself doing a lot of things at the same time and spinning a lot of plates, doing projects, being mostly in charge of my kids and all the forms we fill out and the things that they do and all their activities and all their schoolwork. Having them at home on Zoom school was like a whole other level. Plus the fear and the reality of COVID. Luckily, we didn't get COVID. But other than all of that crazy stuff, I will say the silver lining for me was that I was supposed to be out on the road. I was supposed to be away like I normally am, coming in and out of town a lot, continuing to work on a number of different projects. I often have some project coming out, but that means there's a bunch of other projects, that are being developed, or I'm working on other things, even though one might it seem like, oh, this is what's happening and nothing else. Um, but I have really I've never had this time to just be at home and to be with the
Wow.
kids. And it's not like we're all just sitting around lounging, drinking hot chocolate. But we have had a lot of hot chocolate. But for me, it's been as somebody, like I have a lot of ideas and a lot of creative projects going on. So for the first time, I'm set up in an office in my house. That's the guest bedroom. You see the bed behind me.
Whoa.
Um,
Yeah.
for the first time, I have my own work set out on my desk so that when I come back to my desk, it's still there, as opposed to living in and out of a roller bag suitcase or wherever I plop down my computer. I feel like I've got the room with the view, the space, and also, I know a lot of people talked about this time not being, don't feel pressure to bake a loaf of bread like everybody's doing. Don't feel pressure to, I didn't feel it as pressure. To me, it was more of an opportunity. Like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm at home. I actually can talk to my neighbors who I'm good friends with and
Mhm.
become
Yeah.
better friends with.
Wow.
I'm lucky to live in Los Angeles where we see our neighbors at a distance if we need to.
Mhm.
But
Right.
we have a lot of folks in the neighborhood who are really interesting and kind and creative people. And I have to say that for me, it's been a very creative time and also a
Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
delve deeper into my hobbies. I love
Huh.
reading. I love doing crossword puzzles. I love, sometimes doing Lego with my kids. I love tap dancing. I
Wow.
did outdoor distance tap dance with a teacher, a private
Huh.
lesson.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I try to come up with the resources and the ideas of how to make life continue and create continuum good habits. I work
Yeah.
out twice a week with
Yeah.
my trainer on my own or on Zoom or you know even though yes, we've ordered way more Pop Tarts and chocolate syrup and ice cream bars than ever in our lives, we also have kept up with our broccoli and our grilled
Mhm.
chicken and our Thai food, and we've tried to make the best of it. And so it's just really been an interesting time to delve into Yeah, exactly. What really matters. What it in
Yes.
we were talking about this musical that I'm working on. We'll talk about it more, but in it there's a song I worked on with a friend of mine named Maria DC. And Maria had an idea for a song based on her own life, which really resonated with me, so I was excited to work with her on it. And one of the lyrics towards the beginning of the song, cuz she's this busy go-getter woman who lives in New York, she has a job at the ACLU, but she's also an actor and a writer and works with the Irish theater companies and does all these things and is always just busy, busy, busy. And all of a sudden, she has to live in New Jersey for real and help take care of her older parents. And she's in her childhood bedroom and she's kind of stuck. And we came up with the word suspended. She's suspended in time. And at the beginning of the song, you feel her being stuck, like, oh, I can't believe I have to be stuck in my childhood bedroom. But by the end of this 2-minute song, she's like, maybe this time has given me space to be suspended. You know,
Ooh, I
this
love
is the
that.
space. And I've kind of had that too, where I'm like, okay, I can return back each day and start anew and sort of I'm not I have
Kind
the
of
benefit
grounded
of
you.
yeah, it's grounding me. This
Wow.
it's slower. It's coming back to the same place, not like waking up in New Mexico and then racing home and you know. Oh look, here's one of my fans, Dean. Hey Dean, we've got some great fans, and that's the other thing. Through this, instead of just going to Chicago and Boston and New York or wherever, I was able to play a lot of concerts streaming online
Yeah.
and connected with a lot of fans in England and Ireland and Malaysia and down the street and all over the place. So it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and this time forced me to learn more about my microphone, my Wi-Fi, my lights, my hair, all this other
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
you don't have time to deal with because you're busy. One day I'll get to doing some live streaming. One day I'll connect with my
Uh-huh.
fans better through
And
the
this made you have
internet.
to.
Yeah, exactly. So it's mixed. On the other hand, my son is probably in the other room playing video games and he's not supposed to, but I'm talking to you, so I'm not going to run over there. So, you know,
That's like with us, we launched the show January of 2020, a couple months before
oh
COVID.
my gosh.
And I remember thinking, our original plan was to do 100 interviews our first year. And we
Yeah,
thought
I
that
thought
would be a
that
great
would be a lot,
foundation.
a good
And to be
foundation.
honest, we started out as a country music interview show. That's where we
Yes.
started, the roots.
Mhm.
And then COVID happens. And I told Sandy, you know
Yes.
what? There's a silver lining for us. As a new show, artists who normally are not go on a new show might be willing to take that chance with a new show because everybody shut down. And
Yeah.
because of that, we did over 300 interviews last year, and we're over 400 now.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's been, and again, not to go back to the music, but I mean to my musical, but it really was all about connecting, the process of connecting with
Tell
folks.
us about that.
Well,
Tell us about
There's a
Together
musical
Apart.
called Together Apart. The website for it is togetherapartmusical.com. And it was up for a weekend with 24-hour plays, and we raised over $30,000 to benefit the Actors Fund, which helps actors and people behind the scenes. It's a wonderful organization. But Broadway On Demand, a different platform, said, ooh, we want this on our platform. So we're able to show it for another few weeks, which is great. And it'll be streaming, so you can watch whenever you want. You can start it and stop it. And there's an opportunity to donate. But it's a musical that was put together by a group of Brown alumni. I went to Brown University. We couldn't meet in person for our reunion last year, so we did some Zoom reunions. And in the musical theater version of the reunion, everybody was talking one at a time about what they're doing in life. And some people were worried about, how are we going to do theater live? How does this work for performers and writers? And between that and also between hearing people talk about their lives and how animated they were, I was like, oh my God, this is a musical. We should write a musical. So I said, hey, we should write a musical. And true Brown alumni musical theater people style, everyone said, yeah, let's put on a musical. So we started meeting, and for a couple of months, it took us quite a while to figure out exactly what we were doing. But if by a few months in, we realized everybody really had their own experience and their own voice. And although we didn't want it to be about a Zoom reunion,
Yeah.
we were influenced by hearing people's stories, and we really thought everybody's stories needed to be represented. So we joined to make sure that nobody was telling the same story, but to try to have a window, literally, and proverbially, metaphorically, a window into people's Zoom meetings and their
Can you
lives.
give
And
us
so
the story that you said?
Yeah, the one that that was one of the stories is a story of a friendship of a gal who lives in New York City and her really good friend who lives in Rome. So, and this is autobiographical about these two gals, and they, Rome was seeing COVID before we were, so you see that in the show, and then you see her experience. This woman who's like, I can't believe I've been sitting in front of I moved to Rome and I've been sitting in front of my typewriter, locked in, writing and working my whole life for the last 20 years, and now I'm not allowed to go outside. What was I thinking? Like, I should have taken advantage. I should go out. So I can't. I can't wait. And her imagination goes wild. And then the second piece in that particular 7-minute piece is the song I was just talking about, where somebody all of a sudden realizes, oh wow, my life has changed, but maybe it's time to take a step back. And then in the third piece, which is the final one of the whole show, it really is like, wow, we're really lucky that we have each other and we're able to connect. And that became the theme of the entire piece, connection through this difficult time. But it does range, and the other reason we wanted to have all these different pieces is so you go to places that are funny or discombobulating, like the piece that I worked on that I spearheaded with my friend Dan McKenzie about a second grade elementary school classroom where the parents all kind of start edging into the windows and take over the classroom. And then there's other funny things like family game night. There's something that's kind of funny and heartwarming about dating online. But then it also veers. Online. Oh my gosh! So you would totally understand this.
Back in 2002 when it was taboo.
You're that's very forward thinking of you. And then we also have, but because we also set it. One of the things that was important to the musical was that it was set between March during lockdown here in the U.S. and the election, without finding out what the election results were, because for a lot of us, that was a very tense time politically, and so you do hear a lot of political things going on in the pieces. There's even a Fauci impersonator that gives us a little bit of humor as well as information and time. And there's also some very deep and serious pieces, one in particular called Breathe, which delves into one black man's experience with the George Floyd murder and how that affected him. And then also fictionalized into a piece about a couple who they were going to get a divorce and they're stuck together during COVID. Oh, wow. And their relationship with their parents. So it's a very deep piece, and musically it's orchestral and unusual. It's really moving. There's also another piece that touched upon one of the writers is a professor down in Miami, and she noticed how she was really seeing into other people's lives through these Zoom windows. She could see their backgrounds or the fake backgrounds that they had put up. And what did you learn, and what did you accidentally share about yourself? As well as in her experience, she had students who were Asian who were experiencing a lot of anti-Asian racism during this time because of what certain politicians might have called the COVID vaccine. I mean, the COVID, not the vaccine, the COVID virus. So, that takes a very deep and emotional turn in the musical as well. So we hit a lot of different points. We really wanted to show this connection. And that's where the music is together apart. And not only did the show, I think, express this. Exactly. But I think also just the process, we were working with people in Rome, Germany, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, dealing with all different time zones, people dealing with their families and things going on in their families and, serious things. And it was a touch point. It was a place for us to gather and to get to be friends with each other or better friends with each other, people that we may not have known so well in college, and even an opportunity for people who are not songwriters or writers or haven't been since college to come back and do that. We had an OB, we had a cancer doctor writing, we had, professors and teachers and everybody working for free to help benefit the Actors Fund.
Wow.
That's
Love
amazing.
That. Earlier you talked about doing online concerts and stuff. I think the future is actually that. I think that you're going to go back to concerts, but now because people have tweaked online concerts, they're going to be able to have the face-to-face concert, but also have a component of their online world participating with them.
Totally. And I will say, I've enjoyed a lot of those too. I know that I was watching Lyle Lovett a lot, and he does a weekly or every few weeks he does a show, and I love being able to make dinner and at the same time listen to a full concert when I would normally just be sitting there, it was, or driving to pick up my kids at an outdoor karate class and, listening to a lecture, things like that. I've really enjoyed connecting with people like that.
Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory of your life, the glory of Blake Shelton, of Miranda, and all the big artists. But they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes, not to just to get the y'all's level, but even just a career level within the entertainment world. And I always want to talk about that. And your perspective means a lot because you've been there in that grind mode. You made it to the top. So let's talk a little bit about that, what it took for you from the sacrifice point of view and struggle point of view to get to where you are.
You have to do anything. And again, that I experienced that even making the musical. It's always like that, waking up at 6 a.m. Well, that's when everybody can get together. If you want this to happen, that's what's going to happen. And then 11:30 at night, and then make the lunches for the kids. And then, you, for me, what's been super helpful is always taking a step back whenever I can and looking at my life and saying, oh gosh, is this in balance? And often it's not, but it's the process, so I might say, wow, I'm not sleeping enough. That's a problem. Wow, I like doing, not casual. I like doing moderate working out, like walking outside. Wow, I haven't been moving. I haven't been doing anything fun. I haven't been actually creating anything. I'm just promoting something, but not creating enough. I think part of the grind is the work itself. It can be magical and easy to write a song, and it can be the hardest thing in the world, and you can't come up with any ideas and you forgot how to do it, even though you've been doing it since you were 6 years old, or you can all of a sudden hear somebody say something mean about what you've done, and you have to be able to hear that and at the same time ignore that. You get a lot of people's input even when you don't want it, especially now during social media times. Yeah, y'all understand. But at the same time, sometimes it can be helpful. It can shine a light on something that you don't know. It's also hard because everything is relative. For me, one day I might feel like I'm on the top of the world and I get to do everything I want and write music. And I may have felt that way when I was in college. And oh my gosh, I get to play concerts and people are showing up and I'm working in the studio and I'm recording my own music and I'm learning how to do this. And then I can say, oh, but I wish there were like 20 times as many people there. It's always relative. So always being able to
We know that feeling.
Yeah. So being able to hold in one hand, being satisfied, and in the other hand saying, well, this isn't enough. Like, this isn't enough. I'm not writing enough songs. I'm not sleeping enough. I have to learn how to do that better. I have to learn how to slow down a little bit better so I can focus on my ideas better. I have to learn how to be a better guitar player. But I'm also really good. Sometimes it's just the hours you put in. It's funny. Sometimes I see singer-songwriters and people just starting out, and you forget about things that took so much time and effort to learn and to practice. But then when you see younger folks or people who are just starting out, like they're not comfortable standing in front of a microphone or understanding where to be or how to walk out confidently onto a stage or find your light or ask the light guy if they can move or woman, if they can focus the light on you instead of over there on the side of the stage. And all those small things, which I think create a better relationship with the audience and the performer. If a performer looks confident, even if they're shy, if they look confident, if they are well lit, if their sound is proper, all these things. It takes a lot of time, and energy to do that.
A lot of podcasters feel that way too. I'm part of a big podcast group, and I want people always like, what do you do if this happens? What do you do if that happens? And I'm like, just start. You're never going to learn if you may set up the camera and start, and after 10 episodes realize, okay, this ain't for you. Why not just start now? I know people that are putting $2,000 into equipment and they don't even know if they're going to like it. I'm like, you know what? Pull out your phone, pull out your laptop and start.
Get started.
And that's how you'll know if it's for you, because if you can't quit, it's probably for
Yeah. And I'm an overthinker. So there's so many projects that I haven't done, including like more YouTube videos or whatever. Everyone's like, just film it. I'm like, yeah, but I'm from Dallas. I got to put my makeup on and like, all these things and the lighting and the kids and I want a good camera angle and what if my Wi-Fi, and then I have to edit it, I can overthink anything. But, and it's hard too, like
video when we first launched the show, it was all audio. And she was like, She goes, I will do the audio with you, but I will never do video.
I'm so glad you're on the video, though, because other people don't see it the same way. That's the thing. Like, and I even talked to my husband about this a lot. And we've got the blessing of the curse of and the curse of knowing a lot. Like, he comes from TV production, and I'm very focused in. Even when I make albums, I'm focused in on the artwork and the layout and the lighting and the every single hair out of place. I know, I see. I like, the font, the everything. And yet I feel like with this type of format where you're from your home, you also have to watch it being too professional looking, or all of a sudden it looks like a TV studio. Maybe you don't want it to look like a TV studio.
That's why.
So my husband says, "Oh, you should use a better camera." I'm like, I don't want to use a better camera. I'm good with this camera right now. Yeah. So it's interesting to in my mind, I like everything being intentional, but I have to say, from an audience perspective, I just care about what people are saying, maybe what they're showing me, maybe they're teaching me how to do something. That's what I care about, and I hope that the technology supports that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And we've hit a little bit about the sacrifice side and all that. Let's go the other way and talk about the glory side, the part that everybody sees. And let's start with Stay. How did that song come to be, and did it break records more than what you even imagined? I mean, all of a sudden that took off for you. So tell us that story.
Yeah, Stay is a song that I wrote. I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been writing forever, songs with lyrics since I was like 8. I mean, eighth grade. I've been writing music since I was a little kid playing piano.
Wow.
But Stay was a song. I mean, I had written many, many songs and been playing music for a long time and concerts. I'd moved to New York City because my friend Liz Mitchell and I had a band called Liz and Lisa, and we were already playing in really great venues in New York City. We were just moving along, things were happening. But Stay was a song. A friend of mine who worked at BMI, which is one of the organizations that helps collect your royalties.
Yeah, we interviewed Catherine, the VP of BMI.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so so BMI or EMI? BMI? BMI.
Yeah,
so,
BMI.
Okay, yes. So they were a great touch point for me as a songwriter, and there was somebody there who said, I think Daryl Hall is looking for songs from Hall & Oates.
Wow.
So I was like, ooh, I want to try writing a song for somebody else, not just always myself. So I was sort of thinking about a song like Sarah Smile, something that kind of felt R&B sort of, and I started working with the groove, and I also like writing little guitar licks over songs, and so I started doing that, and I was also experimenting with just kind of writing from the heart. I usually like writing things that are a little more metaphorical, imaginative, enigmatic, things that people might not know what I'm singing about.
Yeah.
But for this, I was trying to just go right from the heart. And so I was writing about an argument I was having with my boyfriend, who was also my producer and engineer, who I worked with a lot. And that's where the song came from. And then it turned out that the Daryl Hall thing went away. It wasn't really a real deal. Although years later, when I told him I wrote that song thinking of him, he was like, "Oh my God." Anyway, I couldn't believe I was even talking to Daryl Hall. But anyway, so I finished the song and I just started playing it with my other songs, and people definitely enjoyed that song a lot. That I would get a lot of requests in my shows for that song. And along the way, I met Ethan Hawke, who's an actor. And he was good friends with another friend of mine who's an actor from Brown, who's actually Josh Hamilton, who's one of the actors in my musical, my collaborative musical. So I met Ethan, and through Ethan, I met all these different interesting folks, like playwrights and like John Mark Sherman, and just all these people who loved theater and music and singer-songwriters and actors and really interesting folks, like really artsy, but people who were becoming successful in their field. Bunch of interesting folks in New York. We all ran around and hung out. And so I was friends with Ethan and also neighbors with Ethan. And along the way, he said, "Hey, I'm working on this movie called Reality Bites. My character in the movie is in a band. Do you want to try writing a song for that band?" So I tried writing a song for the band, but a bunch of other musicians did too. They didn't pick my version of that song, which totally makes sense when I think back. But then he said, can you give some music to us? Because I want to give it to Ben Stiller. Make sure you include your song Stay. Because I think it might be interesting to them. They're going to put a lot of music in the film. And so we passed a cassette tape. I had just recorded the song Stay a couple of times because there were some record companies interested. So I recorded a nice version of it with my band. And we passed that version along to Ben Stiller on a cassette tape. And Ben and the other people involved in the show, the producers and everybody, they listened to it. Finally, it's a long story, but they ended up deciding to put the song into the movie and onto the soundtrack. And then a radio station, it was on the soundtrack. And a radio station down in Houston decided to start playing it, KRBE.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And then it spread like wildfire. It was this crazy thing, and on one hand I was like totally shocked because, when you hear yourself on pop radio, you're like, what? You're like, no, you're on blah, 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 Lisa Loeb. Because, I was like alternative and the singer-songwriter who loved, I love old 1970s rock music and pop music. But here I was on the radio with like the Spice Girls or whoever was popular at the time. And it was just wild, it was wild. But luckily I have a lot of friends and family from when I grew up. So I always have like real people around me. And we were able to enjoy the experience while I blasted through and continued like finishing writing my songs for the next record, getting a record deal, touring to promote the song Stay while working towards getting a record deal and a publishing deal and moving along. But it was very surprising. And at the same time, it felt totally like it was supposed to happen because I'd been doing it my whole life. And I would think like, wow, is that what this... Moment. Yeah, I'd been working and playing and writing and recording and watching other musicians and DJing and, being obsessed with music ever since I was a kid. So I was like, oh, whoa, maybe it's happening.
They say that opportunity, success is when opportunity and preparedness meet. And you were at the point where you prepared all your life. So when that opportunity came, it just worked.
Yeah, well, it was an exciting time. And again, I think without having all those friends and family near me, I may have just blasted through the whole time with blinders on because I'm always on to the next. I'm always like, okay, this is great. What's next? What are we going to do next? But because I had, especially Juan, who was, the aforementioned Juan, who I was dating and working with, he's very nostalgic and at that time, he really showed me the ability, he showed me you have to take a minute and celebrate. And he had a lot of friends also from high school and childhood who were able to celebrate with us and really remind us that like, it's awesome. This is really cool. Enjoy it, celebrate it. Yes, it may go away tomorrow, but let's celebrate it now. And that was.
And that's why to celebrate it now, because you don't know if it's going to go away tomorrow. So if you go through it all and then it goes away tomorrow, then you never got to enjoy it. Because we've talked with a lot of people from that's been big years ago, and and they're like, I wish I would have enjoyed it more during.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, and it's all relative because you want to enjoy it. But as a working musician, I talk to a lot of artists and musicians who, you ebb and flow, and success comes in different ways. And sometimes success means different things to you at different times. So of course, it's great to have a song #1 on the radio, but it's also really exciting just to make an album and to record songs or have a new collaborator or realize like, oh, I'm telling stories better on stage now, or whatever it is. Like, there's so many different elements of success. So I try to look to other musicians who have dealt with that ebb and flow in a healthy way. And, yes, always try to be introspective, but yes, also, you got to be critical, in a constructive way and try to continue to better yourself and do more and make more and have goals and all that stuff. I think that's how I like to do things.
I think it's a balance in life. You got a lot of people that they're all business. Then you got other people that they just want to have fun all the time. And I think there's a balance where you got to know your life and you got to know, that's we try to, we're focused when we need to be focused, but when we don't have to be focused, we enjoy life. That's
great. Yeah, it is a different time for musicians too, because especially with COVID, like I said, you're dealing with technology, lighting, sound, and social media is very time consuming, and nobody knows how it works, and it can be very, very and it can be really time consuming as well. So to understand how to balance that, and also I think, and it goes back to how I dealt with COVID times as well. Like, I think you have to be disciplined as well. You have to finish, you guys have your show because you don't stop in the middle and just say, oh, let's just go have fun. Like you finish the thing, you do the thing, you have to,
exactly what needs to be
you have to be
done.
committed and you have to do your tasks, and sometimes it's not all fun and games, but
Right.
And see we enjoy too, because 2 hours before this show we was out at Tanger just walking
With our two
with our
kids,
two
yeah.
kids, enjoying the moment, because we knew, okay, we got to get back to the house at a certain time
right.
to focus in. But but again, if we didn't do that side of it, I don't think we could do this side as good.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm the same. Like when I'm on tour, I always think like, oh, what friends do I have here? And, maybe see someone, eat something that I love, walk through a park that I want to go walk through, make it like real life. Or in some cases, I'm like, today I need to just focus on the show. I need to get my sleep. I need to wash my hair and blow dry it. I need to put my makeup on and spend a lot of time rehearsing. Other times I don't, but
Yeah.
it's all, I guess, the intention of it,
Exactly.
It is.
So tell us about the Geico commercial.
Oh, yes.
Well, the Geico commercial, they asked me to be a part of that. And I love humor and music. And I'm, like my two favorite movies growing up were like Ordinary People, which is the most sad, emotional story you've ever seen, and Airplane, the ridiculous movie. So
Yeah.
I like both of those things, and I love music and humor. I like, when Paul Simon used to be on Saturday Night Live. I love that. I love doing shows in Los Angeles with comedians, and then you play a sad, beautiful song, and then you do a joke song with somebody. And in summer camp, we used to make up different words to songs. So when Geico asked if I would do it, I felt like we could work together to come up with something. They came up with something really funny, and then we worked together to make sure I also felt comfortable with it, to put something together. And so it's really fun. And it's fun to hear, again, I'm still around lots of regular, real people in my life. And so I hear a lot from my folks and their friends and friends of friends. Oh, I saw your Geico commercial. It's so funny. So it's just.
Because I was on the phone today with a friend of mine, a fellow podcaster. We were talking, and he's like, "Who you got today?" And I told him. He said, "Oh, it's funny because that commercial happened to come on while we were talking."
Oh, that's so funny. I love that.
So it was just crazy that the timing of that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's funny. I said in an interview recently, I saw it made it look like our family doesn't watch TV. We watch so much TV. We have screens out the wazoo over here. But I don't necessarily have commercial TV on all the time, so I haven't been able to see the show yet. I haven't seen the commercial on TV while it's running.
Oh, wow.
But we do watch a lot of TV. It's not that we don't watch TV. We just.
So a lot of people, they see the artist, but they don't see the teams behind them. And in our opinion, the teams never get the love that they actually deserve. But on our show, they get love. So if you want to take a few moments,
yes.
Team.
I think sometimes it's fun as a fan to not know the magic behind the thing. You don't realize somebody has a makeup artist or somebody helped pick out their clothes. No one helped me pick out this white T-shirt. I did it myself. But sometimes people really do have teams behind them to make them look and sound and seem who they are. I have a team that I collaborate with. I have a great manager named Janet Billig-Rich, who I've been working with for over 25 years, more or less. Like there's been a few times when she worked at a record company or whatever, and we continue to work together because I don't do just music. I think she was just a music manager, but now she's also involved in musical theater and music supervision. And I have my eyewear line, and I've got so many different things. I do voiceovers and have, TV shows and stuff in development and all kinds of projects I'm always working on and trying to do. So we've been working together forever. I've also got a social media gal named Katie Cairns, and she's been working with me for a while because, as we said, social media is very time consuming. And at the least, I need to make sure people know what's happening. If I have a musical coming out, if I'm going to be coming to talk to you guys, she helps me make sure people know that stuff. And she reminds me of when it's National Pizza Day and helps me put together posts. And we work together on all the posts. And we also do newsletters, and we had a fan club going for a while, which Dean, who was on here earlier, he was a part of. So I've got those folks. I have a bunch of different producers I like to work with. I've worked with Rich Jacks many, many times on a lot of kids' records, including the one I got the Grammy. I've got a great makeup artist, Jamie Kavanaugh, who I've worked a lot with, including the Geico commercial. Although I do my own makeup, most days. But there's just so many. I mean, what other folks? I've got a booking agent over at ICM who I've been working with for years. I've got voiceover agents at Atlas Talent who I've been working with for over 10 years. I've got so many agents and managers. I've got a great rabbi in Los Angeles. But I have a lot of great people in my life who,
That's
are
awesome.
part of my team and my family,
Yep.
Of
And that's
course.
important.
Yeah,
And speaking
very
of
important.
family and team members,
Yes.
we have a third co-host, our
We
9-year-old,
do,
that we let
Christopher.
ask a few questions. So Sam's
Okay.
going to
We'll
get him.
go get him.
And
Okay.
we've got a 2-year-old daughter that when she gets older, she'll be plugged into the show too, because we are a family affair.
Yes, my son is 9 and he's in the other room. So he actually is in the musical Together Apart.
Oh, wow.
So it's he plays my son in the musical. It was interesting trying to find Brown graduates who had kids who were the right age to be elementary school kids.
Wow.
Some people had to borrow kids because we couldn't find any. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hi, Lisa Loeb. So, what's your favorite food?
Ooh, my favorite food. Oh, gosh. I'm trying to think what's coming to mind first. I mean, I love pizza so much. I love doughy stuff. I love popcorn, fresh popcorn that I make myself.
And what's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Oh, yours is like plain pizza, or what's your favorite?
Pepperoni, sausage, and supreme.
Oh, that's good.
He's got a couple
I'll eat I will eat any pizza, good or bad. Like I'll eat bagel pizza, which is not my favorite. I'll eat Stouffer's French bread pizza. I will eat from any of the big box, chains. I will eat the delicious Venetian puffy on the outside, thin on the inside crust.
Yeah.
Upscale pizza. I will make pizza on a piece of pita bread with tomato sauce and mozzarella. I will eat matzo pizza with a little bit of chimichurri sauce and pieces of string cheese. I love pizza. So I think we're on the same page there.
Next.
Okay, so what's your favorite TV show?
Right now, it's Ted Lasso. I just started watching Ted Lasso, and I just got through a whole season, and I'm starting on my next. But that's like the one of the moment that first came to mind.
And what's yours?
Mine
What's
is SpongeBob.
Oh my gosh, my son and I just started watching SpongeBob. I had never actually seen it before. I know the guy, I've met the guy, and know the guy who plays SpongeBob. But I had never seen the show because it seems like a kid's show, for little kids, but it's really more appropriate for like your age. You start really getting it.
Yeah.
And we watched one where SpongeBob goes, he gets this crush on this gal who lives underwater, but she lives in a bubble, so she's enclosed with air, and SpongeBob goes in there and he's learned to hold up his pinky to be really fancy, so he's trying to drink. Luckily he gets a glass of water. He's like, thirsty, and he's like
Oh, yes, I
keeps
do.
drying out. It's hilarious, but he's trying to be fancy. And he's like,
And what's been cool about the show is because he watches a lot of Nickelodeon Disney shows now, we've been able to because we bring on artists and actors on the show, we've been able to bring a lot of people that he loves on Nickelodeon and Disney onto our show.
oh, y'all should have Stephen Glickman. He's great. He was on Big Time Rush, and he's also in that movie where he says,
You can help us connect us. That'd be awesome.
yeah, I'll have to do it. But anyway, I do some voices on animation too. It's so much fun to do that. That's such a great job. I've been on Doc
We
McStuffins
recently had,
and other stuff.
We recently had the girl that plays Destiny on Bunked.
Oh, wow. That's so great. That's so fun. It reminds me of when I was on Fuller House, that TV show,
wow.
and I got to bring the kids to the set. And Emmett, my son, who was 8 at the time, he lost a tooth. And some of the actors helped him find a little paper towel, special thing to wrap it up in so he could bring it home. But even though they were like these, big actors on the show, they were also just nice moms who were helping us.
Wow. Next.
Okay, so what's your favorite movie?
Ooh, my favorite movie. Bye Bye Birdie, the musical. I love that movie. It's a musical. How about yours?
Mine is the Minions movie.
Oh my gosh, I like Desperate. Wait, I like the one that takes place in the 80s. Which one is that? Minions 3 or
I think
Despicable Me.
Yeah.
Despicable Me.
Despicable Me 3.
I love Despicable Me 3.
He loves all of them.
They're hilarious.
Yes. So what's
He got it. Mine got confused there.
Thanks, buddy.
He loves to do this. We've done over, I guess, about 430 interviews so far, and he's been on 90% of them.
Oh, that's great.
He loves his part.
Oh, fun.
So if you could co-write with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh, wow. That question is just I'm not good at those questions. There's so many people to write with. I
know.
mean,
Yeah. So
I'm trying to think of some of my favorite songs. There's so many great songs, but also I'm thinking of people who collaborate a lot because just because someone can write a great song doesn't mean they're a great collaborator. You
True.
know what I mean?
that's true.
What's the song you wish you wrote then?
Oh my gosh. I love that Brandi Carlile song that was really popular off of her most recent record. Let me tell you. I'm very bad with titles. Wait a minute. I also have really been enjoying Lil Nas X.
Ooh.
I love Brandi Carlile. If I wrote with Brandi and then Brandi and her twins that she works with a lot. Let me see. The Joke.
The
Joke.
joke. I love that song.
It's a gorgeous song and it tells a great story. It's
Gotta
making
love
me
the
cry
internet,
just saying
right?
the word.
Yes.
Gotta love the internet, right?
I know. Remember when we were kids, you had to like drive across town to some weird record store to like see if they had the one copy of that album.
I
And
remember that.
And then you wear the
Yes.
tapes out so much where
Oh,
it makes the
yes.
artist sound like they're like just dragging.
I
along.
actually
Yes.
I have a cassette player right here.
Ah,
I have tapes of myself singing and stuff when I was a little kid.
wow.
But yeah, I remember when the David Bowie record came out in the late 80s. It was towards the end of my high school, like in 1986 or 5, he put out a record. And I bought the cassette and the vinyl the same day because I wanted to listen to the cassette on the way home.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was worth it all, but it's not my favorite of all of his albums. But it was a very exciting time.
Yeah.
And what would you like your legacy to be as an artist? What would you like to be known and remembered for?
Wow. Well, yes, Kitty. Oh, Kitty, I've got a 20-year-old cat back here. Hold on one second.
Oh, beautiful cat.
Kitty, I'm here. I know. I'm here.
Yep, cats are family.
They
Yeah,
are
she's
family.
She's my 20-year-old child.
Oh, yeah.
I think somebody who kept doing it for a long time, who really continued to be engaged with as a songwriter, writing songs that help people look at their own lives that people could enjoy. And I hope to do that with my most recent record, A Simple Trick to Happiness, that came out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of songs about recognizing that things don't go the way you expect them to, but you can find joy in the small things in life. And sometimes you wake up and say, whoa, this is my life. And that you can get through another day and that, we're here for each other. So I hope, that connection and being able to tell my story will help other people tell their story and understand that their story is important.
Yes. And if you could relay any message to your fans, what would you want to say to them?
I appreciate their support so much and their continued interest in the music that I'm making. It makes it fun to write music knowing that there's folks out there that are really going to listen to it carefully and take it all in and support me. And through COVID, I mean, I've really loved getting closer and getting to know more fans a little bit better.
Earlier you said something about your eyewear line. I know that you have that. So tell us about that, how that came to be.
I've been recognized for my glasses ever since I was a kid. I started wearing them in high school, and I don't know when you started wearing them, but in the 80s, I think, especially in the late 80s when I was in that high school phase, I was always looking for interesting glasses. I didn't want something really boring or too preppy. So I'd end up with these kind of way out there glasses, purple frames and green frames. And even in college, people didn't recognize me unless I was wearing my glasses. That was sort of my trait, even though it was like I needed glasses. So little by little, I came to the cat eye frames as the most flattering of all. And I realized I didn't need really wacky frames. I just needed, I like the lift, and I like a play on a really traditional frame. So, and then as I became a professional musician, people really recognized my glasses and loved to talk about them, which actually made me push that conversation away a lot for a while. Because I was like, let's talk about music and songwriting. We don't need to talk about glasses. Let's talk about music. But then little by little, being out in the public eye, I definitely had a lot of women and women with children tell me that they felt comfortable wearing their glasses in
Oh,
public or
wow.
on TV or in weddings, or
Mhm.
they didn't need to take them off and walk around without being able to see because they
Right.
didn't want to.
That's
They felt
powerful.
like they didn't
That's
look.
powerful.
They felt more powerful in their glasses, and that
Mhm.
it was okay to wear your glasses. You don't have to take
Yes,
them
because
off.
I've been wearing them since third grade, since about 9 years old.
Yeah.
And you did seeing you out there wearing yours helped me be more comfortable wearing mine
Exactly,
during
and
that time period.
that made me so happy. And I think that's been happening a lot. It might have been the time period of the 80s, 70s, and 80s, but I
Yeah,
know even now with like people and their bodies and who they
right.
are and being themselves, whatever that means,
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
becoming more and more, more and more in style to just be yourself.
Yes.
So because I heard so much feedback from people about how my glasses empowered people, I thought, I shouldn't be pushing this away, because also,
You
honestly, it's
embrace
one
it.
of my hobbies. I love, like, I was
Yeah.
just in New Mexico and I went to all the cool little glasses stores
Oh,
to see
wow.
what
Oh,
they have and if they have any cool frames. And it's just something I have in common with other people and I love.
awesome.
So, I was on a flight from Israel to LA, or Israel to New York, with my husband, who I was just dating at the time. And I was kind of annoyed that we weren't flying first class or business. We were in coach, but coach was with extra footroom. But we sat next to this really tall man and we started talking to him. And
Mhm.
it turned out that he was a retired school teacher who now designed eyewear displays.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh my God, that's cool. Tell me about that. How does that work? And around that same time, I had been in a larger eyewear company's advertisement. So I had a copy of it in my computer. And I showed him, I'm like, actually, it's funny. I'm a musician and people know me for my glasses. He didn't know
Yes.
me, but he was like, oh, well, that's neat. And I said,
wow.
I'm looking for, I kind of wanted to have an eyewear line. And I'd gotten so close a couple times.
Wow.
And he said, actually, there's this company I work with down in San Diego who maybe, I feel like they're getting to that point in their business where they want to work with people to create an
cool.
eyewear line. So this man from the airplane connected me with his company.
You
They
just
were
never
very
know.
excited. Weirdly, they had a cousin named Lisa Loeb in South Africa. Weird.
Oh, that's
And we
crazy.
started an eyewear line, and we've been working together for 10 years or more.
Wow.
We sell at Costco and a bunch of other places, and I get to work with the eyewear designer company that I work with. I get to work with them and work with them on the styles and the shapes and the colors and the names and everything. It's kind of they take charge because they're the designers, but I collaborate because it's my name and it's important to me. But so I've been working with that a long time, and it's been a wonderful way to tell the story and to connect with others and have people tell me their stories.
Wow.
All through the eyewear line
I love
called
that.
Lisa Loeb Eyewear.
Yes. And tell us a little bit about the Camp Lisa Foundation.
Camp Lisa Foundation is an organization I started to help send kids to summer camp, kids who would normally not
Awesome.
be able to afford to go to summer camp because it can be costly going to sleepaway camp. And we connected with an organization called SCOPE, SCOPE. Summer camp opportunities provide an edge in the East Coast that helps find these kids who need this experience and send them to camps that are great camps that are, safe and great places where kids can learn to be independent. They can be safe. They can learn to be great members of the community and great leaders. And camp was a big part of what I did growing up. I loved, even though I was shy and I didn't love sports, I went out there and I tried things I never would try, playing soccer in a million degrees weather, swimming in a lake, doing all this like sporty stuff.
Yeah.
But we also
Yeah.
got to make music and make up skits. It was the first place I really played guitar.
Wow.
And it was a social thing as well as a performance thing and a creative thing. And I wanted to pass that along. So we've been doing that. And I started the foundation when I made a kids record called Camp Lisa, which had a lot of my old favorite summer camp songs as well as original songs.
Love that. So we got a couple more questions and we'll let you get out of here.
Yes.
But say you had a friend of yours and you heard him or her sing and they have something special. Simon Cowell would say they have that it factor.
Right.
Let's say they've played maybe 40 or 50 shows and they're still getting their feet wet on the performance side, but they've gotten on stage. They got what every artist says, that stage bug, where they look over the crowd and the crowd's roaring for them. They know that they're called to this. What advice would you give that specific person to kind of help guide them the next few years in this crazy music world?
I'd say keep doing it. First of all, continue to learn. If you don't know how to play an instrument or read or write music, you don't necessarily have to read or write music, but the more you can speak the language of music, the better. Working on your craft. If you're a singer, making sure you have a great throat doctor as well as a
Wow.
possible vocal coach if you need one, because you need to have a lot of stamina to do this work all the time.
That's the first, the throat doctor. We've never heard someone say that one.
Yeah, you want somebody who knows what your throat looks like when you're well. And
Wow.
then if you ever have any issues, you know, it's like you're an athlete. So you need to gear up. You need to be in shape vocally, emotionally, you know,
Yeah.
mentally. If you're not making a living playing music, maybe do something where you can make a living so that you don't get stressed out, but try to keep that balance. It's important to make a living. Start incorporating professional people into your life as you need them. You know, don't go get a record deal and a manager and all this. If you can kind of do it yourself, make the money, learn the stuff, learn what it's like to put out a record, to
Especially in this
collaborate
day
with
and
others. Or if you're amazing, also, I would say join BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC. They're wonderful organizations where you can connect with a lot of other people in the business. They are not record companies and they're not publishing companies, but they can help you be part of the community and meet other songwriters, meet other musicians. Often they're singers looking for songwriters, or songwriters looking for singers, or collaborators looking for new folks to work with. And that's a great place where you can trust folks. BMI is what I belong to. And just take it one step at a time, but also continue to have as much either control over what you're doing, like what you're wearing, your presentation, what you sound like, or find people that you can trust around you and trust their opinions so that you can continue to move forward and don't let things happen to you, you know, be a part of it. Sometimes things do happen to you and it's very exciting, but you got to keep an eye on stuff. So, and you know, just keep moving forward and don't be afraid to speak up for yourself either. Like if you're a country artist and you're like, you know, I'd really like to play with that tap dancer, I'd be really neat, or that comedian, or, you know, I really think that I want to do stuff that's more religious. I should do a local church tour, or, you know, I want to play free shows in the park, or whatever, you know, like whatever your thing is, like think outside the box and don't be afraid to delve into the business and creative kind of marketing side as well, because it can be really fun.
Love that. So as we come to a close here, what's next?
Well, my musical Together Apart is going to be, it's not mine. When I say mine, I participated in it. I spearheaded it, but it's the collaboration. It's up on Broadway on Demand, and you can find out all about it with togetherapartmusical.com. I still want people to go subscribe to my YouTube channel and see all the videos we made for A Simple Trick to Happiness, as well as a million cajillion other kids videos that we have, all kinds of music videos there. A lot of people say, oh, I love your song Stay. I'm like, there's like a record that came out every year or two. So go check out the videos. And currently I'm working on a new kids record, which I'll tell you more about when it's about to come out. As well as a couple of other things. But those are some of the things on the horizon.
Love that. So as we come to a close here, tell everybody how they can reach out to you, find you on social media, and any final parting words.
It's no surprise, but you can find me on Lisa Loeb, at Lisa Loeb on Instagram, at Lisa Loeb Official. I'm looking on at Lisa Loeb Official on Facebook, and Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and other places. And my website, lisaloeb.com. And Cameo. I do cameos, which are really fun. So if anybody needs a cameo message, I've been doing a lot of those. And that's also been an interesting way to connect with folks.
Very cool.
So, you know, we really enjoyed having you on the show today. And we look forward to having you back down the road.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.